The galactic hegemony had ruled unchallenged for 3 centuries. Their sleek vessels, powered by quantum-fold drives and equipped with graviton weapons, were unmatched across 17,000 star systems. No species dared oppose them. No civilization questioned their authority. Admiral Zekstral stood on the command deck of the Dominant Will, flagship of the hegemony's 3rd expansion fleet. His scaled skin gleamed under the bridge's blue lights. 6-fingered hands clasped behind his back as he gazed at the unremarkable planet on the view screen. "Explain again why we're inspecting this worthless rock," he said, mandibles clicking with irritation. Commander Vesh bowed slightly. "Long-range scans detected unusual energy fluctuations, Admiral. The readings match no known technology in our database." Zekstral's inner eyelids narrowed. "In the 300 years since the Great Purge, when humanity was driven to near extinction, we catalogued every technological signature in the known galaxy. Unknown readings are concerning. This was human territory once, wasn't it?" "Yes, Admiral. One of their frontier worlds. Records show we sterilized it during the Purge. Nothing should remain functional. Yet something is active down there, something old. Prepare a scout team. I want answers, not theories." Hours later, Commander Vesh returned, ashen-faced. "Admiral, you need to see this immediately." The footage from the surface reconnaissance drones showed what appeared to be an abandoned human mining facility. As they penetrated deeper, vast underground chambers stretched for kilometers. Inside those chambers lay hundreds of ships, neither the primitive vessels of the Purge era nor anything matching hegemony designs, but something ancient, yet somehow more advanced. And they were powering up. "How is this possible?" Zekstral whispered. "The humans were nothing, barely capable of interstellar flight when we crushed them." "These vessels predate the Purge by centuries," Admiral Vesh replied. "According to the data we gathered, they've been dormant for nearly 1,000 years, well before the hegemony's rise, when humans were still confined to their home system and nearby stars. Send in the ground forces. I want those ships seized before." An alert blared across the bridge. On the view screen, the planet's surface rippled as massive bay doors opened in what they had assumed were natural mountain ranges. The first ship rose slowly, majestically into the atmosphere. It was enormous, dwarfing the Dominant Will by at least 3 times. Its hull was not the sleek ceramic alloy of modern warships but rugged industrial plates of dark metal, scarred by what appeared to be ancient battles, yet somehow intimidating in their crude functionality. "Admiral," the communications officer called out, voice shaking. "We're being hailed." Zekstral straightened his uniform. "First contact protocol," though usually it was with cowering species begging for mercy, not whatever this was on screen. The being that appeared was undeniably human, though not like the desperate remnants the hegemony occasionally encountered in the galaxy's outer reaches. This human stood tall, shoulders wrapped in a midnight blue uniform adorned with unfamiliar symbols. His dark skin was weathered, eyes sharp with intelligence, and something else, the patience of one who had waited a very long time. "This is Fleet Commander Isaiah Chen of the Earth Preservation Force," the human said, voice deep and steady. "You are trespassing in protected space." "Protected by whom?" Zekstral's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Humanity is a broken species, scattered across refugee camps and labor colonies. You have no protection." The human's expression didn't change. "You misunderstand, Admiral. We are not claiming protection from others, we are informing you that this space is protected by us." More ships rose now, dozens of them, different designs, different sizes, but all bearing the same weathered, battle-hardened appearance. None matched any human vessel design in the hegemony archives. "Impossible," Zekstral hissed. "These ships cannot be human. Your species never developed this level of technology." For the first time, the human smiled, though there was no warmth in it. "What you know of humanity is only what we allowed to be seen. Before your hegemony existed, before your ancestors mastered fusion, we had already reached the stars. We had already fought our wars, built our empires, and learned the cost of unchecked expansion. On the tactical display, the ancient vessels took up formation, their movement precise and coordinated, proof of extensive military experience. Then why hide? Zekstral demanded. Because we had seen enough of war, Commander Chen replied simply. Our ancestors chose to step back, to hide our true capabilities, to let younger races make their own mistakes. We maintained a presence among the stars, but modest, unassuming, until you attacked. Until we attacked what we thought was Earth? Zekstral corrected. A colony world, with deliberately primitive technology, a decoy, Chen said. Real Earth has remained hidden, along with our core worlds and these mothballed fleets, waiting, watching. The tactical officer's voice cut through the tension. Admiral, multiple energy signatures activating across the system, hundreds more ships. Zekstral felt a chill run through his body. The hegemony had built its empire on the assumption that it was the technological apex of the galaxy. That assumption was crumbling before his eyes. Why now? He asked, struggling to maintain composure. If you've hidden this long, why reveal yourselves? Chen's expression hardened. Because you've gone too far. The subjugation of the Centauri Collective, the strip mining of the Proim planets, the biological warfare against the Terraplago species, we've watched, we've documented, and we've decided, no more. As if to emphasize the point, one of the smaller human vessels approached a nearby uninhabited moon. A beam of concentrated energy lanced out from its bow and struck the celestial body. There was no explosive detonation, no dramatic destruction. Instead, the moon simply ceased to exist, its matter converted to energy in an instant. The bridge fell silent. That technology has been theoretical for us, Commander Vesh whispered. Matter-energy conversion on a planetary scale. Chen's voice was calm. I'm not here to destroy your ship, Admiral Zekstral. I'm here to deliver a message. The era of the hegemony's unchecked expansion is over. Humanity is returning to the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as guardians of balance. The transmission cut off. The human vessels began moving away, their engines leaving trails of blue-white energy that defied known physics. Admiral Zekstral, master of the Third Expansion Fleet and conqueror of 86 star systems, felt something he hadn't experienced since his hatchling days, fear. Plot a course for the capital, he ordered quietly. Maximum speed. In the Grand Hall of the Hegemony, 17 species convened in tiered seating around a central platform. Admiral Zekstral stood at attention, awaiting judgment after delivering his report. Supreme Overlord Vex Merrill, ancient even by the standards of his long-lived species, leaned forward on his crystalline throne. His exoskeleton had long faded from vibrant blue to pale gray, but his eyes remained sharp and calculating. You expect us to believe, the Overlord said, voice resonant in the chamber's perfect acoustics, that a supposedly extinct race has been hiding advanced technology capable of neutralizing our vessels without effort. I have provided all sensor data, Excellency, Zekstral replied, mandibles tight with tension. The footage is unaltered. The Overlord gestured, and a holographic display activated above the platform. The assembled representatives watched again as ancient human vessels emerged from hiding and demonstrated power beyond anything in the hegemony's arsenal. If this is true, hissed Counselor Shrek of the Vespid Dominion, we face an existential threat. Not necessarily, Ambassador Lore of the Sleen Depths countered. The human spoke of balance, not conquest. Perhaps negotiation. General Cross slammed his armored fist on the rail. We are the hegemony. We do not negotiate with lesser species. The Overlord raised a hand, silencing the chamber. What do our intelligence services know of these humans? Their true capabilities? Their numbers? Director Nish of Central Intelligence rose. Very little, Excellency. We believe their home world was destroyed during the Purge. Our archives mention ancient human conflicts ceasing approximately 1,200 years ago, coinciding with what the records call the Great Retreat. We assumed it referred to technological regression, now it appears to have been a deliberate withdrawal, along with reserves of hidden fleets. The Overlord's inner eyelids flickered, a sign of deep concern. 2 weeks, he said softly. They arrive in 2 weeks to formalize relations. We must prepare for all possibilities. 7 light years from the hegemony capital, aboard the human command vessel Remembrance, Fleet Commander Isaiah Chen studied the tactical displays showing the massive buildup of hegemony forces. They're mobilizing everything, noted his second-in-command, Captain Maya Okafor. 20,000 vessels at last count. Chen nodded. Predictable. The hegemony has maintained control through military supremacy for too long. They don't know any other way. The diplomatic team is ready, Maya reported. Grand Counselor Rodriguez is eager to begin negotiations. Chen's expression was thoughtful. Did I make a mistake revealing ourselves instead of continuing to watch? Maya considered. You saw the data, 86 species extinct or endangered under hegemony expansion in the past century alone, 3 habitable worlds rendered sterile for resource extraction. The time of watching had to end. A soft chime announced another presence. The holographic figure of Area, an advanced recursive intelligence algorithm, materialized nearby. Fleet status update, she announced. All 27 preservation fleets are at activation level 3. The Arcturus and Sirius contingents report ready for deployment if needed. Probability of hegemony aggression stands at 72.4%. Chen exchanged a glance with Maya. What would you recommend? Demonstration, Area replied immediately. Something beyond what we've shown already. Something that makes those 20,000 ships irrelevant. Chen sighed. The Guardian. It might be necessary, Maya agreed reluctantly. Chen nodded. Prepare it, but pray we don't need it. 2 weeks passed with agonizing slowness. The hegemony capital world of Jeraim bristled with defenses, every civilian with military training was activated, and planetary shields, never before deemed necessary, were hurriedly brought online. When the human diplomatic fleet arrived, it was deliberately modest, 5 vessels only, with the Remembrance at its center. But what they lacked in numbers they made up for in presence. The vessels moved with impossible precision, their ancient hulls radiating power readings that sent hegemony sensors into confusion. In the Grand Hall, Supreme Overlord Vex Merrill sat rigid on his throne, surrounded by his council and backed by the combined fleet admiralty. Though outwardly calm, his inner thoughts churned with strategies, contingencies, and one overwhelming question: could the hegemony survive what was coming? The human delegation entered without fanfare, 7 figures in simple blue uniforms, led by a silver-haired woman whose bearing radiated quiet authority, Grand Counselor Elena Rodriguez of the Earth Preservation Council. She introduced herself with a slight bow. The Overlord inclined his head fractionally. You stand before the combined might of 17,000 star systems, Rodriguez said, diplomatic but unyielding. And you stand at a crossroads, she continued. The path you choose today will echo across generations. General Craw growled. Threats already, Counselor. Not threats, Rodriguez corrected calmly. Context. For nearly 3 centuries your hegemony has expanded unchecked, consuming resources, subjugating species, steering the galaxy toward homogeneity. We observed, documented, and waited, hoping you would find balance on your own. She gestured, and a holographic display blossomed in the center of the hall, countless images of hegemony conquests, ecological devastation, species extinction. But balance never came. So now we offer a choice: adapt to a new reality where power is shared, diversity protected, or face a force your ancestors once feared enough to erase from history. The Overlord's mandibles clicked softly. Bold words for a species whose visible presence is 5 ships. Would you like to see more? Rodriguez asked. Before anyone could respond, the chamber's main display activated, showing real-time footage from orbit. Through the field of hegemony vessels, space itself seemed to ripple, distort, and then tear open. What emerged was not a conventional ship but a structure, a lattice of dark material that expanded until it dwarfed even the largest dreadnought. At its center pulsed a light shifting through colors no one in the chamber had words to describe. "The Guardian," Rodriguez said softly. "Built during what your historians call the Human Extinction War, a conflict not with your people, but with something far older. Something that sleeps now thanks to our ancestors' sacrifice." "What is it?" the Overlord finally asked. "A singularity manipulation engine," Rodriguez replied. "It doesn't destroy planets or ships, it removes them from this reality entirely. We locked it away, not because we couldn't control it, but because we understood that power of this magnitude comes with responsibility. That responsibility is why we retreated from galactic affairs, to watch instead of rule." She stepped forward, voice urgent. "We don't want to use it. We don't want to fight you. We want balance, a galaxy where no single power dictates the fate of all, where diversity flourishes rather than withers under hegemonic rule." The Overlord studied her, ancient eyes calculating. "And if we refuse? Then the galaxy will rebalance regardless," she said simply. "But the cost will be immeasurable." Long moments passed in silence. Then the Overlord rose, an unprecedented action during formal proceedings. 300 years, he rasped, voice heavy. 300 years we have ruled, built, conquered. And in all that time never once did we face a force we could not overcome through strength or numbers. He took a step forward, closing the distance between them. The ancient conqueror and humanity's hidden might stood face to face. "You could destroy us," he stated. Rodriguez met his gaze steadily. "Yes," she replied. "But we come offering balance. Because," Rodriguez finished, "we believe no empire, no matter how mighty, should stand unchallenged. Power without accountability breeds only ruin." A charged silence hung between them, broken only by the soft hum of hegemony engines thrumming beyond the hull's energy shields. Supreme Overlord Vex Merrill leveled a gaze at each member of the council in turn, weighing their fear against a lifetime of conquest. At last, he inclined his head. "Very well, representative of humanity. We accept your terms, conditionally." A murmur swept through the chamber. General Kraw's armored fists clenched, but he said nothing. Counselor Shrek exchanged a wary glance with Ambassador Lore. "What conditions?" Rodriguez asked, voice steady. "First," the Overlord declared, "all preservation fleets must stand down their demonstration protocols immediately. No further planetary conversions." His mandibles clicked decisively. "Second, we will petition the Grand Assembly to ratify open access to starlanes for all species, but it must be implemented over a 5-year transition period, during which the hegemony will provide logistical support. Third, a joint galactic council will be formed, with equal representation from all member species and humanity, to oversee enforcement of cultural autonomy protections." Rodriguez paused, considering. "A council of equals, very well." The Overlord turned to Zextral. "Admiral, escort our guests to the negotiation chambers. Let us begin the work of rebuilding trust." As Zextral bowed and led the human delegation down the marble steps, Fleet Commander Chen allowed himself a rare, genuine smile. Maya Okafor fell into step at his side. "Do you think we can trust them?" she asked quietly. Chen looked back at the Grand Hall, its massive pillars now echoing with cautious diplomats rather than war cries. "Trust is earned," he replied. "But today, we took the first step toward a balanced galaxy. That's all we needed." Outside, the ancient human vessels slipped silently back below the planet's surface, their bays closing like the petals of a long-dormant flower finally resting. Above, the hegemony's combined fleets adjusted their formations, not in preparation for battle, but for a new era of shared exploration and mutual respect. And so, with uneasy hearts but hopeful spirits, two civilizations, once destined for war, began the delicate work of peace. The galaxy held its breath, watching as the first threads of a new tapestry of cooperation were woven across the stars. The negotiation chambers were carved into the living heart of Jerime's central spire, a soaring atrium of transparent alloy walls that looked out upon the city's gleaming sprawl. As Admiral Zekstral ushered the human delegation inside, the subdued clatter of boots on polished floor gave way to hushed conversation, punctuated by the distant hiss of atmosphere regulators. Grand Counselor Rodriguez took in her surroundings with a measured gaze. "Impressive," she murmured, "how you've integrated biolattice supports into the architecture." Zekstral inclined his head. "We borrow the best of each world we conquer," he replied dryly. "But today, we hope to learn rather than take." Behind them, Supreme Overlord Merrill and Director Nish joined the group. The Overlord's presence radiated centuries of authority, yet his posture held a tentative openness. He gestured toward the central table, a seamless hexagonal disc that floated a half-meter above the ground, its surface gleaming with holographic interfaces. "Let us begin," Merrill intoned. "First order of business, Starlane access. We propose to deactivate regional blockades within standard star charts 6 months from now, with full transition in 5 years, as stipulated." Rodriguez nodded, tapping a fingertip on the table's edge. Immediately, a map of the hegemony sphere appeared, each system outlined in soft blue. "Humanity accepts your timeframe," she said. "However, we request the formation of joint survey teams, composed of hegemony and preservation force personnel, to ensure safe mapping and resource assessments. Cooperation now will build mutual confidence." General Cross scowled but did not interrupt. Director Nish exchanged a glance with Merrill, who considered the proposal before nodding. "Accepted," he declared. Next, the question of cultural autonomy arose. Counselor Shrek voiced the hegemony's concern: "Our colonies have developed under guided integration. Will humanity truly respect our developmental oversight, or is this a veiled pretext for interference?" Rodriguez's dark eyes met his. "Respect is not an abstraction," she answered. "We propose the first Cultural Council session be held within 3 local cycles, hosted on Earth's historic world of Elysium, once the cradle of human diversity. There, each species may present its heritage, laws, and values in our preserved archives. From that foundation, we will craft protections tailored to each civilization's needs." A ripple of surprise passed through the council. Ambassador Lore of the Sleen Depths spoke first: "An open archival session on Earth itself, bold, but I see its merit. Our people shall have direct voice." The Overlord rose from his seat. "So be it," he decreed. "We shall schedule the Elysium Summit. And as for the matter of prohibited genocide, we shall ratify the amendment to the Hegemony Charter immediately, banning weapons of mass extermination and biological warfare." At Rodriguez's subtle nod, Zekstral felt tension ease across the chamber. The greatest hurdles, Starlane access, cultural autonomy, and an end to genocidal arms, had been bridged in a single sitting. Yet as dignitaries stood to disperse, Rodriguez paused. "One final matter," she said. All eyes turned back to her. "Trust cannot be decreed, it must be demonstrated. In that spirit, let us arrange a joint exercise, hegemony and preservation force vessels working in tandem to quell the solar flare storms in the Caldera Belt. The systems there face catastrophic electromagnetic surges next cycle, and our combined fleet could save billions of lives." Silence fell. A joint exercise, an act of faith requiring hegemony captains to coordinate maneuvers with the very ships they once would have destroyed. Then Supreme Overlord Merrill leaned forward, a slow smile creasing his worn mandibles. "If our unity can save lives where mere power would have caused death, then let it be so. Council, prepare the task force." Outside the spire, sunlight glinted off thousands of ships already reconfiguring their pylons and boosters. On the bridge of the Remembrance, Chen allowed himself a rare moment of relief. Maya Okafor watched him. "What next?" she asked softly. He shook his head, but his lips curved upward. "We show them what cooperation can do. Moments later, the newly combined fleet leapt into hyperspace, bound for the Caldera Belt. As the stars streaked by, humans and hegemony officers alike braced for their first joint mission, not a battle for supremacy, but a rescue born of unity. And across the galaxy, those watching on distant worlds dared to believe that, perhaps, a new era had truly begun.